Uh, Good afternoon, everybody. This is another interview with another board candidate for the IMZA. With me today is Chris Cash. And before we go into the questions that the membership has asked, I will ask Chris to go ahead and talk about himself a little bit and before we get into the questions. Go ahead, Chris.
All right. Well, it's a pleasure to speak with you about this. My name's Chris Cash. I live in North Florida near the Swanee River, and I've had the opportunity and the blessing to be working with miniature zebus since about 2013, 2014, and it's been a real pleasure and been a multi-generational effort for us because my dad is the one that kind of got us started in these, and then now my children are helping me with them, um, and I've been uh, I've been able to get involved with uh, the Facebook groups there, and especially one called Registered Miniature Zebu Cattle, where we've been able to uh, welcome quite a few members over the years, and that has grown in activity and posts and all that. So I think it's been a good platform to raise awareness about the breed and interact with people on there online. And I'm excited about the potential opportunity to be a part of the board of directors and help continue the awareness of the breed and get the word out there about these animals that we all love.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much for that. We'll go ahead and dive right into the questions that have came through the email and form that I set up. Uh, so I will ask you these questions. These are how the questions came in. I'm not adding any context to it. Please interpret them however you feel. I did share these with you before this so that we weren't blindsided in this meeting. And I wanted to go ahead and capture your answers so that we can post this and start our election come March 1st.
Okay.
I'm not going to add any extra context to any of these questions. Definitely, please feel free to answer them as openly and honest as you want. I will read them and then I will let you answer. So, question number one. In the past, several individuals have accused individual members of the board of directors of IMSA of being corrupt, dishonest, unethical, of showing favoritism, and having made decisions for their own personal benefit. Do you agree with these accusations? If so, which ones and why?
Yeah. So there's obviously a lot of different posts online on different social media groups and all that of people saying different things and making claims, but we actually have to have proof or evidence of what people are claiming before we can really do anything about it. And so I just think that, unless there's evidence or proof of something, I can't really speak to it because it's just at that point it's just a rumor, right, or just hearsay. I think that we would have to have really two or three witnesses to a matter to establish a fact, and so I don't really have any evidence of that, and so I just hope that I hope that whoever is a part of the board will at least consider some of the things that are being shared online and within the community and just take it take into consideration that we all need to really do our best to be transparent and communicate well and and if there are claims being made about something, I think it's good that we can at least give an answer for those things and put to rest any kind of complaints or dispel any rumors. But yeah, I don't have proof of anything, and so I can't really agree with any accusations if there's no evidence or proof of anything.
Okay, thank you for that. Question number two. What is your position on relaxing the registration rules or at least relaxing their enforcement?
Yeah, it's a good question. I really think that we should look at relaxing the rules or at least the enforcement of them because at the end of the day, we're looking to try and expand the membership base, and I would love to see more animals in the registry. And I think ultimately anything that we can do to make that easier for people would be better. I talked to some former board members that have been involved in the board of directors in the past, and I think that I can say that the intention was initially when they started to move forward with a stricter enforcement of having the seller be the one to transfer the animals and the paperwork, that there was an intention that there could be a representative or an agent involved in that process, and I think that that's fair. And just to give you an example for anybody who's listening to this, I had a situation where I had a lady that really didn't want to fool with anything, and she actually signed over a power of attorney to me specifically for some named animals with registration numbers and everything, and it was just specifically power of attorney for those animals, and I had that in writing with her signature and everything, and I believe that especially something like that should suffice to allow me to go ahead and take care of the transfer process myself instead of having to force a seller to do that or whatever. I saw someone on the forums there online saying that they had their buyer there in the driveway with them, and that they used the Wi-Fi or whatever at their place, and perhaps somebody checked their IP address and they didn't let that go through or whatever. I think we should look at relaxing it and not be super uptight about it as long as everything looks good and we can verify that the seller is agreeing to that transfer. um, I don't see why they have to be the one to actually initiate the transaction from their PayPal or from their credit card or whatever. And in fact, I've actually had problems with PayPal myself where I've had to actually I've had to actually use my business partner's PayPal a couple of times to try to do it because mine wouldn't go through. PayPal can be a little wonky sometimes. This is something that I did email. I, I did email the Mark over the year. Things is that you're moving away from those. Uh, I'm glad that it was able to go through, but we said we should be doing what we can to make things easier from to relax.
Okay. You you did break up a little bit on the end of that conversation, that answer a little bit. Um, I don't know if maybe we want to have you.
Okay, let me just restate that real.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to maybe kill your
You may,
video. Maybe that might help with the bandwidth a little bit as well, and I'll kill mine and see if
okay.
we can.
Yeah, let me. Yeah, I apologize. I apologize to the viewers here, but I'm not getting any prettier, so I'll just try that. There we go. All right.
That's not
Yeah,
that's
just so you know, I live out in I live out in the middle of nowhere, so sometimes the signals it is what it is. You know what I mean? So I apologize. I thought I was doing pretty good there, but I saw it flash the message saying that the connection got unstable for a minute. So uh, are you able to hear me? Okay.
Yep, I can hear you now. Yep.
Let me just reiterate what I was saying, if it's okay for that question, because it's important to me. Um, I do believe that we should take a look at relaxing the registration rules a bit, or relaxing the enforcement of them, because ultimately we're trying to expand the member base. We want to see more animals in the registry, and I think it would be best to try and make that easier on folks rather than more difficult. Um, I had a situation where I had a lady that really didn't want to. She didn't have, I guess, good internet access and didn't really want to fool with it, and so she signed over a power of attorney to me for specific animals with their registration numbers and names and everything. And that should have sufficed for me to be able to present that to the board and to of course have legal authority to go ahead and make the transfers on her behalf. And I met resistance with that, even with a power of attorney letter, and it shouldn't have been a problem. That should have been no problem at all. I saw someone posting online about how they had the buyer in their driveway sharing their Wi-Fi, and that they tried to do it. They tried to put the sale, I guess, the transfer through on the PayPal using the same Wi-Fi, and it got kicked back. And so, I think we do need to look at relaxing that a bit and make it easier for folks. Um, like I said before, I talked with some of the former board members in the past, and I think the intention was that it would be best for sellers to initiate the transfer, but also to have the ability to have an agent do that on their behalf. And of course, with a power of attorney, it should be no problem at all. But I think as long as we can verify that the seller is agreeing to that, I don't see why I don't see why the transaction has to happen from the seller's account or PayPal or whatever. So and I've had trouble in the past with the Form Smart forms where I had to actually use my business partner's PayPal account and even a couple times my mother's account and different things because I couldn't get it to go through on mine. I have a business PayPal account, so that may be one of the things that there's a variance there. But and I'm glad that those went through for me. But if there's some kind of discrepancy or something there, I think that as long as we can verify with the seller that it's legitimate, that we should be able to move forward with these things. And it's really not that much different from turning in an auction, handing if I sell an animal at the auction and I turn in an auction form, that's kind of an open-ended document there. So, I know that the idea was that we wanted to avoid people floating paperwork, for years at a time because that can hose things up. But at the end of the day, how many people do that versus people just trying to get the animals transferred to them and move forward. So I think we definitely need to just revisit that and look at that closely and make it easier for people.
Okay, cool. Thank you. We caught all that this time.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and keep our cameras off, and it seemed like it worked a whole lot better.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So next question. Why do you believe you are a good candidate for a board of director position where it pertains specifically to the Zebu breed?
Yeah, good question. So I just Uh, I'm not going to say that I'm an expert and that I've got all the knowledge of cattle and all this, but I've been working with them for a number of years here since 2013, 2014. Like I said, I got started, working with my dad with them, and I've just gleaned a lot of experience over the years, and I'm really passionate about seeing the breed kind of grow in awareness, getting the word out there to others, and seeing this whole movement grow. It's been exciting to see that, and I believe that I could bring a lot to the table as a leader. I've got a lot of leadership experience in business and also in ministry, and I'd like to do my best to help um, usher us into a whole new chapter here for the Minstrel Zebus.
Okay. Uh, Question number four. What have you done in the past and commit to doing in the future for the preservation of the breed, specifically pertaining to the the IMZA and its registry, and why do you feel this is important?
Okay, good. Yeah, so one of the things that I have been actively involved in has been the some of the Facebook groups. I am one of the administrators of two different Facebook groups that are pretty large in size. One of them is mini Zebu cattle, and the other is registered miniature Zebu cattle. And particularly the registered one, that's the one that I believe is most relevant to this, and its focus is geared toward obviously animals that are registered or being registered with IMZA and of course the other association. But I've seen this group grow over the years. I think we've got several thousand people that are part of that group, and of course, that number is growing daily. We're getting requests to join, and people are asking questions and curious to know more. And there's been a lot of great interaction there. And I couldn't do that without the wonderful team of volunteer moderators and admins that help to keep the spammers out and scammers and all that. But that's been really good to interact with folks over the years and see that grow. And I think that, social media is a big part of breed awareness and also interacting with the membership. And a lot of people are asking questions on there and they get their questions answered. And it's just the way that this is the way today that people are communicating, and it's a big part of that. So, I would like to continue to use those channels to help further the awareness of the breed and to be a communication platform with members and potential members, prospective members. I've also been able to donate some animals in the past to different organizations that I thought would be a good place for zebu visibility. There was a creation themed campground in Alabama that's called Dinosaur Adventureland. It's owned by Dr. Kent Hovind, who's a creation scientist, and they have a number of animals there at their property, and we were able to donate some zebus to them in order to for them to have them on display and for people to pet them and to get familiar with them. And then we were able to do the same with the Tarpon Springs Aquarium, and they have a petting zoo. Even though it's an aquarium, they do have a petting zoo with some farm animals along. We were able to donate to them a nice little zebu calf, and he's living happy there and on display, and children and families are interacting with him on a regular basis. And I think that maybe not everybody would be willing to donate animals, but I think it's a good idea to try and get these guys in front of as many people as possible, and that's a good way to do it. And of course, I support 4-H programs and all that kind of thing. My children are involved with homeschool co-op groups and all that, and they've definitely been able to share about zebus with a lot of a lot of those groups and interactions. But yeah, I'm committed to continuing to do all that I've discussed, and I'd like to implement some other ideas as well. And a lot of the things that I have ideas for, I've actually shared online. I've made it publicly known some of the ideas I've had, and I think also having regular regular meeting opportunities. I know that we have an annual meeting right now. An annual business meeting is great, but I think that if we can have more opportunities for the membership to interact with leadership and have questions answered, or maybe share ideas, have kind of a roundtable forum discussion, whatever. I think that could be very helpful as well. And so yeah, I hope that I'm able to continue to do these things and more in the capacity of a board member.
Okay. Next question. What do you feel that you bring to the table as an IMZA board member?
So I've had a number of years of experience in business. I've had a number of different business startups over the years, and leadership roles. I'm also a pastor of a congregation, and so I do have a lot of experience just working with people, working with board members with in other capacities, and steering things and all that. And so I'd like to just take the same approach that I have in other endeavors with the IMZA, again, just like I shared before, some of the other ideas I'd like to bring those to the table. I also have a very strong information technology background like yourself, and I would love to be able to offer my skills in that area as well as marketing. Offer any skills that I can toward promoting and furthering the association and the breed. And I would like to do that without expecting any money. I'm not looking to get hired or get paid for it. It's just it's something that it's one of the things that I like to do for organizations that I'm passionate about. And so I've been able to help, for example, the church and other ministries in the past with website development and things like that. I'm not looking to get paid for that because these are nonprofit groups, and I'd be willing to devote the same kind of skills and time toward the IMZA wherever it might be needed, along with social media connectivity and communication, and maybe even video, YouTube channel, whatever is needed. I would love to help with that.
Okay. The next question. So this is kind of long. I am going to read it all the way through, and then I'll have you
Okay.
respond to it. Have you ever been cited by the United States Department of Agriculture, the USDA, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, the FWC, or any branch of the ASPCA for any offense related to the care of animals? This includes, but is not limited to, failure to meet the minimum standards of care for animals used in exhibition as established by the Federal Animal Welfare Act, failure to contact a veterinarian for injuries or illness, failure to handle animals in a way that avoids trauma, behavioral stress, physical harm, or unnecessary discomfort, failure to provide animals with a shelter from inclement weather, failure to provide adequate space allowing normal postural adjustments and freedom of movement, conducting auction sales without the required license, brokering, exhibiting, or transporting regulated animals on a suspended license, interfering with agency inspections, denying access to records or property inspections, failure to produce acquisition and disposition records to determine if regulated activities are being conducted, verbally abusing or threatening USDA officials, or using or refusing to allow inspection of records or property.
Yeah, and the answer is no. I have not ever been cited by any of those organizations for any of those reasons that you just stated.
Okay. Are you aware of any current IMZA board member or any individual currently running for a board position who has been cited by the USDA, FWC, or any branch of the ASPCA for any offenses or violations as described in that question above?
I am not aware of any IMZA board members or individuals that are currently running for the board position that have been cited for any of those by any of those organizations for any of those offenses.
Okay. Do you agree that if any board member or candidate has received any of these affirmations citations, that information should be disclosed to all voting members of the IMZA so that they can make an informed decision?
I think that that would be a good idea if that's the case.
Okay. And would you support any future motion to amend the IMZA bylaws to prohibit anyone who has received any of the affirmation citations from seeking or holding a board position?
And on that one, I think that, generally speaking, that sounds like a good idea, but I do believe that if that were to a motion were to be made along those lines, I think that would be important to take into consideration each case and the scenario of the case, and how long ago was it, and was restitution made, or was there time, was there has there been enough time where there can be personal growth and reflection on that? Because everybody has the propensity to make mistakes and make bad decisions, and so I think that we should look at all those factors, and not just blanketly block everyone. I think we should look at each case and consider it. But it is something that I think people should be informed about before they elect someone to the board.
Okay. Those were the 9 questions that were submitted by members of the IMSA. And so I don't have any further questions. Would you like to make any closing comments before I stop the video?
I just would like to see the ultimately we need to see the membership grow. In order for the association to be sustainable, we need to be able to see future generations take hold of this and continue it. And I know that there are a lot of folks that have made efforts toward the youth as far as shows and 4-H and all that. And I think that's great. But we really need to see a lot more growth, I think, for this to really be sustainable. And in order to do that, we really need all hands on deck. And I think that this is something that's an effort that doesn't just land on whoever the board members are. The board members are there to represent the members and to help steer this association, but it's really up to all of us to do our part in some way or another to try and promote this breed that we're all a part of, and get the word out, and to try to maintain a positive view, a positive environment surrounding this. So we need to be careful with, there's been a lot of negativity online, with posting and all that. And, we try to do our best not to censor people because everybody, should have a right to voice their opinions, but we really should take a moment to consider the things that we say when we're going to post something online, especially, and I'm saying this because I'm involved in these forums on Facebook, and these are larger groups, but I'm just saying, we should all consider the things that we're going to write or say before we post them online because they do matter, and the more negative we get about things in our complaints or in our opinions, the more that can tarnish the whole association and really involvement in the breed in general. It can push people away instead of drawing them in. We want to foster a community that's welcoming and inviting and friendly. And we should all be able, as adults, especially if we're trying to promote this with young people and get them involved, we should do our best to set a good example for the young people and act as adults, and treat each other as neighbors. And when we have disagreements, let's try to find ways where we can solve these things, professionally, and not really do a lot of this stuff that we've seen where people are dragging stuff out online and making a big scene about things. We can do better. And but I sure want to thank everybody for considering me, and whether I'm able to move forward or not into that position, I just it's my hope that the board of directors will continue to do their best to be more transparent, to communicate better with the membership as a whole, because transparency is important. And I think it's good that the members are made aware of as much as possible, so they know what's going on, and we kind of dispel those the rumors and the things that go on when people don't know what's happening. So I sure thank everybody for taking the time to listen, and um, we'll see you around on the Facebook groups.
Okay, thank you very much. I will go ahead and stop the recording. Thank you.